Okay, we are live. The Sonbeek podcast. We're back. Special election day episode live stream here with Jonathan Ramos, Daniel Zilbercon, and we came into this thinking we were going to be happy, but Dan is losing his goddamn mind over there. How how do we feel right now going into this?
it, I, I mean that single stat, the one number, the fact, that uh that Biden was only able to win Miami by 10 points, and when Hillary won Miami by 16 or 30 last time, is like the biggest data point of the whole night. Because if Joe Biden had just literally done the same thing that Hillary did, he'd probably be winning Florida right now. But it's like it's just not. I mean, I'm not surprised that Trump held on to Florida, but it doesn't look good.
So let's start off with that. Let's start off with Donald Trump has won Florida. I don't know if they've officially called it, but it's safe to say Donald Trump won Florida. We kind of had the hope that was going to happen. We had the hope on Texas, and Texas is still a little bit too close to call. Looks like Trump's going to grab North Carolina, and all of a sudden this election is starting to look really close. Let's start with Florida since we live down here. And
Daniela Cava looks like she won mayor of Miami. I'm sorry, but that matters a lot to me.
That does matter. That's a big win that's a big win for the Dems. Which is, people have started that conversation. It was, how did she win, but Biden performed so low in Florida?
No, Biden won Miami by like 10%. I mean, he won Miami.
But he won by less than Hillary.
Yeah, but I mean, Cava, it's not that. I mean, Cava doesn't only has to beat both by one vote. So it's not, she's not competing with the rest of Florida. So it didn't really matter. Like with Biden, people were like, oh my God, you only won Miami by, so you are, can we curse on this? You are screwed if, with the rest of the situation, man. But, is it bad, Diggy? It's looking bad.
I mean, I thought that the best thing that could have possibly, I thought that the path to victory would be a lot easier if Biden was able to.
We were looking at a blowout. We were looking at a blowout.
And now it's gonna come down to those Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and we know all the bullshit that's going to go down there.
Well, Ohio, Trump took the lead apparently, or no, I'm sorry, or it's become microscopic in Ohio.
Yes, it's like 13,000 votes right now.
And Michigan
and Pennsylvania is also, he's closed the gap. Rumpy,
but Trump is up in Michigan right now.
He is, but it's like, I'm looking at the map right now,
guys. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Dickie. Go ahead.
We're in Detroit, and it's only 2.8% of the vote has been reported in Wayne County in Detroit, and Trump's not going to win Wayne County, so it's like there's a lot of ballots still to be counted.
Correct me if I'm
stuff.
Correct me if I'm off on this, but also isn't in states in the Midwest, isn't it benefiting Biden? As long as Biden doesn't get blown out in those states tonight, he's probably going to win because of the mail-ins.
And Pennsylvania, that's true.
Counting.
They're going to take at least the rest of the night and maybe into tomorrow to finish counting all the mail-in ballots. Yeah.
Okay. So there is if he loses these things by a couple thousand votes, he probably won.
I mean, if he's losing right now, it's not the end of the world, because there's all these mail-in ballots to be counted and reported. Sure.
And right as of now, the betting favorite is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the betting favorite right now to win.
On what?
On all all betting sites.
But is the
Done.
okay? Is he? So he's the. Does that mean he's the? Does that mean he is the favorite, or does that just mean he's the best bet as far as like the best
It's
return on
people
chance
are
on your
moving
chances?
the money in that direction.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good
Yeah,
at
so
all.
it's definitely looking bad. I didn't want this. I wanted this to be what is 4 years of Biden. Like what I wanted this live stream to be was we were going to be comfortable with a Biden lead right now. We were going to talk about how do we move Biden to the left. But it looks like we might have to start this conversation of what another 4 years of Trump is. And I want to start that with Jay. How bad is another 4 years of Trump?
Man, listen. How about this, man? Listen, let's just be in the moment. I mean, no, you're the host. I'll answer that question if you want, but I'm looking at this like chill. Like chill. Like
It's
relax,
hard
right?
to
Like
chill, man. It's hard to chill.
no, I'm saying like let's not, let's not talk about our right-wing winner, Democrat or Republican. Yet, just yet. I mean, this news is coming in. I'm looking at the screen right now. This thing is close. If you want, we can talk about the hypotheticals though. I mean, if Donald Trump has another a second term, another 4 years. I mean, my first thought is I don't know if Florida's like the deciding factor alone, but my first thought is the electoral college, as far as a couple of thousand misled Cuban Americans in Miami are essentially potentially dooming the entire planet from a climate disaster perspective, as far as what's being said. I'm not saying it can't be salvaged after 4 years, but in terms of what scientists are saying, and the damage that's being done and how that's going to be accelerated without some help very soon. So that's really my first thought, is on a planet, on a global scale. I mean, domestically, I mean, the list goes on and on for communities that don't have a lot of privilege, either economically or in terms of their citizenship or their race or their religion. But I mean, it's a long list to go over. But my initial thought is on the big scale, the entire planet is hinging on an electoral college, in terms of just a couple of thousands or a couple million people really deciding the fate of the earth, if you want to put it in that perspective.
And I think we should talk about that like as the first main subject. Is we talked about that last night, us three off air, because it seems like it's possibility we're heading towards an election result that's going to be based off the electoral college being bullshit. And I want you guys to like kind of give the people, because we actually have a decent amount of people right now watching.
How many people watching?
We've peaked at 35 live.
Oh man, hey, what's up, Eric? What's up, both Erics? What's up,
Mom, Dad.
What's up, Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Megan? Is Megan there? Is Megan out there? I'm just messing with you, bro.
Maybe Megan's mom. Shout out all the friends.
35, man. Diggy, you brought the fam out too?
I haven't actually even posted this on Facebook, so I could do that.
You're a Facebook guy. I keep forgetting. I don't use
I mean,
Facebook.
I'm a Facebook guy because all my grad school people are on there. The people in the department.
Old heads.
Yeah.
But I want to give the people a background. I want you two to give the people a background on just how terrible this electoral college system is.
Diggy can take that, yeah.
I mean, it's like the entire origin of the electoral college, from a sort of historical perspective, from the very beginning, was that, the founding fathers, when they drew the Constitution, they did not have the confidence that the people should actually choose who was going to be the actual president. There basically was no popular vote in the very beginning of the United States after the Constitution was passed. And so, part of the reason why this is so bad was not just that it's undemocratic, number one, but is that it's literally tied up with our legacy of slavery. That a big part of the electoral college is tied up with the 3/5 compromise, which said that every enslaved person, black slaves, counted for 3/5 of every free man. And so people in so the states in the South that had slaves got to pad their population just by having them count as 3/5 of a person. And so the electoral college was something that was like a giveaway or a compromise with the slaveholders from the very beginning. And sure, we got rid of slavery, and since the 1830s we've had a popular vote because Andrew Jackson gave the right to all white men over the age of 21 to vote, but it's still this sort of like racial uh, legacy to it that it's ridiculous that we still connected to it in 2020. It's insanity.
It's where it's one of the many things that's still rooted in racism to this day. And you know, I learned yesterday about the grandfather rule that I was trying to
Oh
explain to
goodness.
someone today.
My goodness.
If you want to go into that for a little bit too.
Sure.
That,
I mean, me or Jay? Or I can talk about it.
yeah, you
That,
got it. I mean, it's at the state level though. That was at the state level.
yeah, that was at this, and that was like Jim Crow basically said that you could only vote if your grandpa could vote, and so in the 1880s, the 1890s, 1900, 1910, your grandpa, if you're a voting age in that period, your grandfather was most likely a slave, and slaves couldn't vote. So it
Hmm.
was literally one of the biggest things that they did. The sort of the white leadership of the South did during Jim Crow to not let black people vote, even though they got citizenship after the Civil War.
So we use this electoral college still. Basically, we have it intact, so the white states and the southern states can still have a shot at getting their preferred
No,
person
it's
in.
shuffled. It's not just the South now. It's the way that it's shuffled around, is and the composition of the country. Maybe because of immigration or because that's I guess that also is the legacy of slavery. But minorities tend to be concentrated uh, in metropolitan cities and heavily populated areas and states. So that gives smaller states with less populations a little more of an influence when you do the math. So it's indirect. It's not just southern states at this point, though. It's shuffled around. Is that the right idea there, Dig?
Yeah, that is basically it gives because there's a limit to how many electoral votes an actual state can have. It means that each voter in the smaller population states get more say, even though states like Florida, California, or Texas, or New York, or Illinois still get more electoral votes. That each person gets less representation. So that's like incredibly anti-democratic.
And so, but if this were to be abolished, would it be something in a way that Democrats, or hopefully in the future a very more left party,
Mm,
would never lose an election again?
I mean, it would probably mean that yes, because it's very clear that the great majority of people in this country, with, I mean, it's like yeah, I think so. Yes, to make it to make it short, yes,
So that's why it'll never happen.
yes.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I was just talking to somebody today at the polls. Like, what's gonna happen is this: it's gonna get done sooner than you think. Because it's just fun. It's just, I mean, the same way that people thought slavery might not end or Jim Crow might not end. Like it's going, and it's an oppressive system, and it's wrong, and it's going to come around. And by the time 2040, 2050 comes around, people are going to look back at us the way we look at it 1964, like, oh my God, people couldn't vote. That was recent. People are going to look at us like the prehistoric dark times, as
Hmm.
far as like, oh my God, they had the electoral college in 2020. Jeez, man, you guys grew up with. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be like that. But it needs to get painted as what it is. It needs to get connected to race. It needs to get connected to class, and it needs to be something that is pushed forward, and people be educated about it so they understand what the point is of even doing it. Because there was a movement for the previous things I talked about being abolished. There were humongous movements for them, and the Electoral College just hasn't been a priority for the Democrats.
And
and I,
what? Oh, sorry,
and
go,
I would,
Dick.
and I would say that something else that's like a big deal is that if you're going to sort of think about mass movements and all of that, is that, you know, it doesn't seem like the Democrats actually don't benefit. They have no interest in getting rid of the electoral college, I guess. I mean, I think they might, but
You don't think they benefit? I mean, just from the fact. I mean, because I saw a poll that said more than 80% of Democrats support that.
oh, I think yeah, but I don't, maybe, but like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, they're because
Oh,
they
maybe the poll I was looking at was Democratic voters,
yes, Democratic
not
vote,
not not corporate conservatives in the
yeah,
Democratic, like the people in charge. Yeah, I got
and
you.
the people in power that it was like, oh,
Okay.
uh we're just gonna keep the things the same forever.
Okay, I can see that. Key race alert! Key race alert! Hold on. Hey, we need some updates though on what's happening here, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
listen,
gonna throw, I'm
Ohio.
gonna throw some in. We got to,
Hey, Trump got the lead in Ohio, my guys.
and then
Yeah,
Biden's up points. China. This isn't looking good.
Relax, relax. Biden's still up in North Carolina. If he keeps it close in Ohio, he gets Ohio, right, Dig? In North Carolina, if he keeps it microscopically close, if it's 1 or 2, 3%. I mean, then we
I,
get the other doomsday scenario we talked about, but just on paper, he.
We'll get to that doomsday scenario, but let's get where are the mail-in ballot states? We know for sure Pennsylvania,
yes,
Michigan,
Wisconsin
Wisconsin,
and Michigan.
Michigan. Oh, those are the mail-in ballot states. So we need. Damn, Trump ended up winning Florida by a decent amount. We need to end up.
Nah, I mean, 400,000. That's
It's,
not a huge. I mean, that's a he. I mean, it's not surprising for sure.
How's he up so big in Michigan?
it it's just that they're not reporting the mail in ballots, and they're being slow too because I still have Wayne County, Detroit at 3%, and he's winning Detroit right now, and Trump's not going to win Detroit.
But if he gets Florida, Texas, and Georgia, Biden, Trump would still have to upset Biden. And Michigan is one. Trump
Yeah,
has Trump doesn't have a lot of margin for error.
No, he needs
But
Biden has more clear paths. Biden,
for sure,
Trump needs to like sweep,
needs to go his way.
and he needs everything to go his way. But the thing is, the way it's looking right now is
Well, I mean, no, I mean, why? I mean, look, I mean, Pennsylvania and Ohio are and North Carolina are very close, and we suspect that the voting post today will be in favor of Biden.
mhm.
and it's like I told Mike earlier, it's like if I told you 6 months ago that Texas would be within 3%. That's we're like, oh, Biden's having a great night. He's only losing Texas by 3%. So I think we're like, I think we're way too zoomed in right now. You gotta like,
We all need to just relax, take a deep
You
breath.
you need to relax.
Okay, but you weren't on here before this. Me and Dig were here for 40 minutes, and I got Dig like
I thought it was
like
9:30, man.
we
No,
got
I had
I
a
got
long day.
Dig.
That's my fault.
I had Dig like punching tables and getting up to go grab a soda, and like I'm like Dig is my guy. He's gonna calm me down. If I get nervous, if Dig gets nervous, I'm getting nervous. And I had Dig over here like punching soda, saying he's not gonna do this anymore. Like
Well, look, man, hey, listen, I'm cool right now. I know there's a lot of big things at stake, but Miami, we have a new mayor, and we have a mayor who's a humongous between she's I don't know. You don't give labels like progressive and left. Let's just say that she is a far cry from other mayors we've had in Miami. So I'm still riding high off that,
oh
and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this continuing to be good news, man.
shit.
why,
What
why
happened,
don't you
Dick?
give everybody a background on her?
Cava? I mean, she was going against Esteban Bovo.
Who try to who used the Trump angle about socialism and
Yeah, yep. And the
All
good
that.
thing, what we like about Kava is that she is open. She is open to uh, dealing with the police issue in a refreshing way. Whereas Bovo wants to continue to invest in them and does straw man about how they need more and how they're being unfairly judged. I think she is open to defunding them, and she was opposed to building more jails and prisons, and that's the big issue for us
Mhm.
in Miami. That is the big issue.
For
Is
a little
that
background, there's a big jail that's trying to be opened up too, right?
yeah, and in Miami, we have a high population and of people that are incarcerated, and it's disproportionate, obviously, in
And
terms
treated
of
terribly. Some of the
black and
worst
brown folks.
treated, some of
Yeah.
the worst
So
treated inmates in the country.
so the main thing with Daniela Cava is her approach to that is refreshingly, she is actually willing. She's actually, I mean, listen, it's obviously she just ran a campaign, and but from her campaign and from what I hear on the ground from organizers and people that I've worked with her, she's open to these things, and that's really the number one thing. Is she seems like an empathetic person, but overall, policy wise, the main thing that I would say for somebody to start their research on her on is her approach to the police issue we have in Miami-Dade.
Can you go in, as I mentioned, like the opponent, she used the socialism. I just saw an ad on it like literally an hour ago. And they're saying that's a big reason for Biden's underperformance in Miami-Dade is that Trump really pushed the socialism angle. He took a lot of ad money on radio, and it seemed like the Hispanic vote wasn't there for Biden as it was for, let's say, Obama 8 years ago. Why?
I mean,
It's what is the main component of this? As I was saying to Dig, you say the word socialism to around some people, especially in the Cuban, the Venezuelan community, and it's like the boogeyman. How do we flip that narrative in a constructive way to, like, maybe in 4 years, you know, we can get some of them to flip back?
I
big.
it seems it it's just that there's all of this sort of stuff out there, and it's history, and it's Fidel Castro or recent history, Hugo Chavez, and Nicolas
That's
Maduro,
okay.
and it's
Yeah.
Well,
these
first of
people.
all, Maduro and Chavez are not like Castro. First of all,
No, they're not. But I'm saying that these people moved to the United States, and
But
they
those are their boogeymans.
and they moved to Miami-Dade County specifically, I guess, as a place that they thought was welcoming. This is like a very Miami-Dade County seems to be a place where there's also the Nicaraguans that are here also, and it's almost like a perfect storm situation where it's like, sure, we can agree or disagree on exactly who is good or bad or what socialism is, but it's just a demographic issue that all of these people that hate the socialism word live in South Florida because it's close to their home country.
But like it doesn't, and I don't want to say this in like an offensive way,
Oh,
but it doesn't take much to realize Joe Biden is not a socialist.
no, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't take much to notice that most of these people on the Dem tickets are not socialists.
Yes.
I need to here's the root issue. Here's the root issue. It's not whether they are or aren't socialist. It's that people don't know what socialism is.
That's what I was
So,
getting into. I was going to get into that.
socialism as a fundamental idea is about ownership of the means of production on behalf of the workers. There is zero politicians in the United States of America currently in office that stand for that fully,
Mhm.
right? Like technically, I mean, I was speaking to somebody, and I've spoken to people who conflate social democracy, which is mild, moderate reform, reformist approach to economics, which is not uncommon in the world right now. That's actually
Mhm.
working, to be fair. And they conflate that with the word socialism. I think part of it is the fault of Bernie Sanders' campaign calling him a democratic socialist, which I guess maybe he's either redefined that, and it makes sense maybe like socialism but democratic, as far as like the fact that it's maybe not what people think communism is. I'm not sure, but he's not a socialist technically by the definition I know of socialism to be. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but I think the root issue is that people don't even know what it is, and people think more government equals socialism,
Mhm.
which isn't. Government is not really. I mean, the end goal of socialism is to actually have no government. So it is. I think it starts with that. Diggy can go way deeper on that than me.
But how do what I'm asking though is like how do we flip the narrative to the people that seem so
Well, I
in
mean,
on
well,
Donald Trump tells me this is socialism, so this is socialism.
there's something that probably a lot of people on my Twitter are talking about right now, is that the Democratic Party, as it exists today, makes socialism as big of a boogeyman and a scare word as Donald Trump. They
Mhm.
hate it too,
Yeah.
and they also hate the idea of having a government that will actually help people. They're not out there trying to sort of, the establishment Dems, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the people in power. They don't want to do Medicare for all. They don't want to raise the minimum. Man, they're moving on their minimum wage thing. They're all of these things that are sort of like mild social democratic reforms. They basically totally oppose, and so they don't want to even pitch these things as something that's achievable. And so it's still socialism. Like if you ask, or the Green New Deal, which is a little more radical than Medicare for all, these are all ideas that would be mainstream, but we have a right wing corporate Democratic Party that actually kind of agrees that socialism is bad.
But is socialism more funding from government by definition? No,
I
right?
mean, I guess socialism is actually, the workers controlling the means of production. That's the
Yeah.
definition.
So I mean,
Mhm.
so government spending. I mean, we already have. In that case, we are a socialist country. We have free public education, public transportation. We have a lot of things. So a little more money from the government in certain areas doesn't flip the switch from
No,
something that we already have public funds going to these things.
but like the best example is this: is like, you know, Germany, not Germany, Britain, like started doing sort of welfare state stuff like
Mhm.
before World War I. Like in 1906, when the Liberal Party came to power, they started doing things like having unemployment insurance and all of that. And that was like the first step to having a big major country have some sort of, call it socialism, welfare at least. And then, after World War II, they went full on and they started doing the same thing, having the government, give everyone free health care. And, they nationalized a bunch of industries. And so I guess is that the United States, it still has a lot of its social democratic uh, sort of history from the New Deal, is that it's been, worn off since the 1980s, and so we have like the barest minimum of it left.
Mhm.
So all we have to do is have politicians like Bernie, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who will say, those things that FDR did, those things that Truman did, those things that Eisenhower and Lyndon Johnson did were all good things, and we should try and do that again. We can't say, we can't be scared of being called socialists because we want to help the people.
Mhm.
But it's not like, oh, by definition, a welfare state or a state with a strong social safety net is
Yeah.
not is not socialism though.
No, it's social democracy.
Right. So the
Yeah.
thing is, like, so it's very different. There's a very clear distinction. And
Mhm.
I mean, they can disagree with that, but it's just the word socialism is I guess, which, by the way, if things are come down to Cuba, by the way, I mean, Cuba can be analyzed as a form of capitalism itself in terms of calling it state capitalism, because in Cuba the workers actually don't own the means of production.
No.
I mean, I'm not trying to wake up a certain segment that I know feels very strongly and supports what Cuba has been able to do, which they have succeeded in many ways. I'm just trying to be factual about the facts. State capitalism is not socialism, and social democracy is not socialism.
No.
There is nobody running on syndicalism or on worker ownership of the means of production as a rule. Nobody is running on the your relationship, which is fundamental in the definition of socialism.
Yes.
That's so it's just education.
If you're just to break in here, if you care about betting odds about the election, Trump has moved to minus 600 to win the election tonight.
It looks like Biden's up in Arizona, though.
Yeah. Why? What's going on right now? Why is a lot of things pointing towards Trump when, like, the way the map is right now, there's still a few clear paths to victory for Biden?
Because I think a lot of people were sort of trying to bet on this whole, you know, Trump. I mean, Biden was going to overperform in Georgia and North Carolina and Texas, and it doesn't seem to be happening right now. So right now, it's like Trump or Biden needs a sweep. He needs to get back Wisconsin,
The
Michigan,
blue wall.
Pennsylvania, the blue wall to win.
I think people are forgetting about the mail-in ballot situation.
I think they are.
Let's all take it.
That's why they're tuned in to the Michael Sonbeek podcast. So they can
Let's
get this, they can be reminded of this. Hey, all 30 of y'all need to tune in.
even though Trump is literally minus 600, which is working in now the gambling industry, it's fucking insane odds.
Yeah, man, he's looking like the Lakers right now.
Yeah, he's looking like fucking. They're up 3-0 in the series.
How did this happen? A couple hours ago, we thought. I mean, you guys we've been talking all week about how Biden had a 25-point lead in the fourth quarter. Rumpf was chipping away, but we're talking about he was up 8 to 10 points with 36 seconds left still.
This morning, Biden was up 8 points.
This would be the biggest upset since, what was it, Clinton's first term, Diggy? Or I think nobody's ever in the last 30 years.
Well, it'd be the biggest upset since last time.
Dukak?
Since
Well, no, yeah. But I think there was one that was more than her. I don't know if it was 86 or 90. But anyway, the point is it'd be the biggest upset of the last 30, 40 years, right? Like, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because and I guess maybe the polls really do all suck.
That's something that's going to have to be discussed, man.
They supposedly adjusted it though to 2016 and the issues. Like, that's the thing.
But then how? How does this happen?
I have no idea, man.
Well, guys, let's relax. Let's relax. I mean,
well, honestly, in all fucking honesty, Joe Biden is down by 0.6% in North Carolina, and he's down by 3% in Texas.
And Ohio,
he's down
almost. He's down 3 in Ohio too now, man. That gap is widening.
And like all of these places were marginal. They were not for sure like, oh, he's definitely going to win Georgia.
But Trump beat his ass in Georgia though.
Well, yeah, but Georgia's still not over. because
I mean, it's a big lead.
it's a big lead, but there's a bunch of
He's up
like
5 in
votes
Ohio
still
at
to
this
be
point.
counted in Atlanta, like the city of Atlanta and Gwinnett County and DeKalb County. So it's like only half of the vote is in. So I wouldn't know. I mean, he's probably not the favorite. I mean, Biden's not the favorite to win
But that's
Georgia
insane. How
right
you could be the biggest favorite of the last 4 decades a few hours ago, and then he's not the favorite.
now.
He's a big ass dog right now. Okay, betting wise.
No, yeah, the poll. I mean, the poll screwed up. Then I mean, let's see. I mean, let's see how things move. Are the poll are the betting odds usually fluid on election day like this?
I don't follow betting stuff.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm the company I work for has them as Trump as an overwhelming favorite. It's the uh biggest sports betting company in the United States. But let's relax. This is not the Sonbeek podcast is not an overreactionary podcast. We relax. We trust the process. We let this happen.
I don't trust the electoral college. What?
No. Trust the process of our
The
king.
data before
Yeah, yeah. Of the data that had our
coming
king.
in.
Yeah.
Daryl Morey went to the Sixers. It's like somebody is going to redeem Sam Hinkie. It's awesome.
Trump is
The process.
If
Oh man, Pennsylvania and Ohio, man, these things have turned around.
yeah.
It's looking red. I'm
Yeah.
seeing red. I'm seeing red. Hey, listen, man.
What?
Oh man,
This podcast was not as fun as I thought it was gonna be. Oh man. Fuck,
You're melting
man.
down. You're melting down. Relax. Let's see what happens. I mean, we're gonna have to discuss the strategy. I mean, if he wins again, I mean, there's certainly going to have to be a monumental movement to try to stop some of the things his second term. I mean, particularly on immigration and on climate, obviously, that is extraordinarily dangerous.
Not to miss, and we know the pandemic is not going to go away.
Oh yeah, and actually, that's the biggest thing. If Donald Trump gets reelected, we're just going to let this burn out until a vaccine shows up.
How did we get to this? Like, how are we so fucking stupid? Like, is there any way to say, like, how is it that we're doing this again?
Because white people are like Donald Trump.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Hey,
Fuck,
listen,
man.
it's listen, you're a white man. Talk to other white men and ask them.
yeah. It's like I kind of want to turn everything off. I want to I never
Me
turn
too.
my phone off.
I threw away Twitter. Twitter's giving me anxiety. All my group chats are giving me anxiety. Everybody has fucking started waving the white flag. But I want to get into the discussion of Trump's next 4 years. But
Lindsey Graham kept South Carolina. I mean, that was expected, but there was low key. Like I had a little bit of a hope with that.
It looked like
oh man, Tommy Tuberville won
a real shot.
Yeah, Coach Tuberville won.
Oh, I mean it's Alabama, but jeez, man, Doug Jones. Weren't we just like Doug Jones was a huge win, and Tommy Tuberville comes and beats him? There's always a reaction, right, Dick?
Yeah,
Coach Tuberville, fucking.
He wasn't even that good at Auburn.
Yeah, I was gonna say failed Coach Tuberville.
Yeah,
to give him a Trump nickname. Pennsylvania with 20% and is 52.5, 46.2 in favor of Trump.
But this is literally this is the blue mirage, the red mirage.
Yeah.
This will sort of as they start counting the mail-in ballots, it'll start looking better. I mean, at least I hope it starts looking better. Now I don't even know anymore. I wanna go back to bed.
You know, we all had this in the back of our head was, and I guess it's we have to talk about this is, scared of the what happens if it's too close to call. Trump goes to the Supreme Court and shit. We start that transition to a real fascist, like a real fascist state. And
Well,
it
if he, I
like
mean,
if
he just
Trump
wins,
just wins fucking outright, like how he
yeah.
is.
Well, and then he'll be super like, oh, he can think he'll do whatever he wants.
Is it
And
this is the worst? Is this just a bad as outcome? Like
I mean, I think 4 more years is a pretty terrible outcome.
no, I know, I get it, but I mean, like, I'm saying, like, we were scared of, oh, he's gonna go to the Supreme Court,
No,
get like
but
this. But if the white American people vote for this,
Mhm. It just mean I mean it just means that there really aren't enough people out there who are moderate or whatever moderate is actually supports Donald Trump.
Hey, listen. What says more about the country? That Donald Trump won in 2016, or that he won in 2016, did what he said he would do, and 4 years later there wasn't a complete repudiation of him
It
and rejection of him? What says? I mean, this is, if anything, this is a
this
confirmation
is
that
worse.
the country
No,
doesn't reject him. It doesn't reject him.
this is worse. No, because you could, yeah, no, 10 times worse than him just winning in 2016.
because we've had 4 years of this shit now, and people are
Things
like,
went
"Oh,
worse
it's
than
fine."
things went worse than I think we imagined. I think we didn't. His campaign. He had some decent appeals maybe to working class people that maybe other establishment Republicans weren't doing. And then
Sure,
he also flashed. Obviously he also flashed. Uh, you know, racist language and flagrant language all around. But I don't think we I don't know. I think it went worse than I thought. Hopefully, it was too much worse than the average Republican, which is bad. And policy wise, I mean, he's come up. He's been the average Republican or worse, and
Okay, we got a pretty comfortable lead in Arizona.
that doesn't. I
Well,
mean, okay. I mean,
it's
I
11
guess
vote.
it's
It's
notable.
11
That's notable.
electoral. It's
But
11
listen,
electoral.
I care about Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, North
Yeah,
Carolina. That's what this is about.
I mean,
and
I'm sorry to
he
take
needs
away.
he needs to.
I took that from you so fast.
I mean, any win is. I mean, because wasn't that one of the things? Like, if you get Arizona, you can afford to lose one more.
I guess if you get Arizona,
Why
you
don't
can
you
sort
share?
of like
Why
lose
don't you pull up a
Wisconsin. You can if you get Arizona, you can lose Wisconsin.
Why don't you pull up
I have a
a
map right
map?
here.
A map. Can you share your screen? Am I the only
Share
one that can share my
screen.
screen?
Sure.
I mean, for me, it says share screen. I think you can
Okay.
do it.
So, why don't you share your screen?
Okay.
So, in Wisconsin, we got a close race. Donald Trump looks like he's gonna take Georgia.
As
Uh,
expected. He also looks like he's also looking good in Wisconsin.
Okay.
yeah,
So
but
we
that's
have this screen on there. We're still here on the left.
and I mean this right now. I mean it's these are blank because they're not called yet.
Can you play with it?
I can play with it. Uh, see, this is he's up in Wisconsin by
No, I
1.7.
mean, like, can you make the prediction? Like, can you turn Texas red
Oh
and
no,
Florida red
I
right
can
now?
no that I can do. Oh yeah, I can do. I can go on here and do it.
Let's go
Sure.
do that. Let's do that.
Hey guys,
Uh,
I'm gonna step away for a second. I'll be right back. People do this in live streams all the
okay.
time. It's completely normal on Twitch. Hold on.
Uh, so let's look at, let's say, Trump's gonna win Texas. He's gonna win Florida. He's gonna win Georgia. And he'll win Ohio. And let's say Biden looks very good in Arizona right now. And let's see that, let's give this to Trump, Iowa to Trump. And so I'm just going to make these four blank. North
Okay, so
Carolina.
this is about what we envision right now. This is where we think everything is at this moment.
So let's look. If Trump wins Wisconsin, and then Biden holds on to Pennsylvania, and wins Michigan, then he's cool. And then North Carolina just becomes sort of like meaningless.
Yeah.
Or you can put it this way: like, imagine that if that Biden loses Michigan, but Trump or Biden wins North Carolina, and then he wins too. But if Trump wins North Carolina, then Biden has to win Michigan and Wisconsin. And this is all with Arizona staying blue. So in the end, at this point, it kind of looks like if Arizona stays blue, the whole game will be on Arizona,
Pennsylvania,
North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
And people, please calm down because Republicans went in person today.
Yes.
Republicans went in person. Now, seeing this has calmed me down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Fucking CNN has the map bar that has Trump winning 306 to.
That's John King moving back and forth with potential things. He's not saying that's
just like I'm doing.
Yeah, relax.
So we have.
Oh man, Pennsylvania's opening up, man.
Yeah, but this is that red mirage.
I mean, no, but I mean, he's up 8 now in Pennsylvania, though. It's more. I mean, the mirage, I think, is okay. Fine. I'm gonna roll with it. The red mirage.
Remember, we might not know Pennsylvania's situation until Friday.
Yes.
If it comes down to Pennsylvania, but we don't want it to come down to Pennsylvania. That's what our biggest fear was it not coming down to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically, I know it doesn't seem likely, but Texas is still not like that. Might happen. I'm not saying it's a high chance, but if Biden gets Texas, we can go home.
I mean, if Biden gets Texas,
why don't you pull up the live feed on the other side, on another tab, the site you were at before?
Oh, which site? This one?
The one that had you can look over who was winning and put it on another tab.
You want me to put what?
Like the site you were on before this one.
Which one am I on now?
This is the one that you can play around with. The one that was showing live updates when you click the state.
Yeah, I think I'm still on there.
No. You were on a different site before this.
I'm showing. Oh, you want me to show you the other one? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, show the other one. Show the other one.
I'll do it. I think I need to stop sharing first.
So here's something that came out from Nate Cohn from the New York Times. Says, we have some good news for the Democrats in North Carolina, where reporting error by Randolph County is padding Trump by about 30K in our estimate there. They reported both in-person and absentee ballots together, but the needle still is predicting 45,000 early votes.
I need to go here, I guess. Okay. Share, and then I'm going to go back to this.
Gotta make sure you close those tabs. You know what I'm talking
I have nothing. I have nothing untoward
about?
on
Oh,
my
you be using your private windows for that. I got you.
tabs. So yeah, I mean these are the states that have already been called.
And so the
Well,
live
we knew.
score.
I mean, obviously, Alabama, South Carolina, Louisiana,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, come on now,
A lot of
Arkansas,
this is stuff that we expected.
Yes.
of course. I mean, New York. I mean, and obviously California is gonna, and
And
Washington is gonna happen, and
and
Nevada
NBC
probably.
and NBC News, which is what I'm using, is being hyper conservative on calling
Grumpy.
states.
Okay.
They're not calling
Yeah,
Florida.
because
They're not calling Georgia. They're not calling Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Texas, Arizona. Nothing.
Only
So for them,
22% of, sorry, but only 22% of Philadelphia County has reported.
oh, see, that's exactly the whole Red
so what
Mirage
are we?
deal.
So what are we doing here, man? You just got just going. I mean, you guys are just sitting here going crazy.
Nah, I mean, we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna get this. This is not how I expected this night to go.
How long are you planning on being here?
Not too
I
much longer.
mean, we could be for another half hour or something.
Diggy, you gotta wake up tomorrow. What are you talking about?
Me, I have nothing to do.
I mean, we're gonna get off this, and either way, the group chat.
Yeah, and then I can just turn the TV off and freak out with the TV.
Either
I
way,
mean,
we're gonna talk about this in the group chat, and a man, and one of a few people in the group chat that aren't here are going to then have their chance at their opinions. You know.
I mean,
Okay, let's get back into it. Let's get back into it.
Back to panic.
No, not back to panic. We're gonna calm down. We're gonna calm down from the panicking. There's been some bright spots already today. I want to say, confirm this, that the first transgender woman was elected to Senate today.
yeah, is that true?
Sarah McBride has been elected to Delaware's state senate. She is the first transgender state senator in the United States.
That's big
Okay,
time.
That's big time. That's big time.
Let's get it.
and
The Dems.
and Cory Bush got in, and Jamal Bowman got in.
Yeah, if we're being formal, I mean, Ilhan Omar is back to it.
Yeah,
So we
Those
have
are
some
well, I mean, those are
positives here.
probably just,
it's formalities, though, right? Senate.
buddy should win.
Yeah.
Come on,
So-
we can't just say it like that. To say formalities, we're trying to give the positive spirits here.
No, I'm saying she, her like challenger has no chance. I don't know what the state of her race actually is, but I don't expect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to lose.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. We're gonna assume still that our king gets elected, right? Our king Joe Biden gets elected, and from day one, we're gonna pressure him. Well, we hope the pressure still comes on, like how we've pressured Trump and
From day
all
one.
that.
From day
From
one.
day one. From when's inauguration day?
January.
January
20-something.
20th.
Yeah.
It's January. I know it's in January, but anyway, whenever inauguration day is, from
20.
day one, 20th, we're gonna push Joe
20th,
Biden to the
yes.
left. And we know that there are still some of those middle voters, like we've talked about before, that they're both bad. And I think Jay's great on this, is explain the difference of why Joe Biden is just not. He is bad. He's not a great candidate, and we have to question the Democratic Party again. But explain why Joe Biden isn't just as bad as Ronald Rumpf.
I like how you use our nicknames. Well, Joe Biden. Listen, I was working today in the field today with somebody who's undocumented. They're in the community. I've had family and friends in that community, and as far as some of our priorities involve structures that we know that oppress us in terms of how immigrants are terms of how we're treated in terms of the prison system we spoke of. I think Joe Biden is even though his history is is an abomination, right? He's an architect of a crime bill. He's an extremely tough on crime. He's a right-wing Democrat, and we know he's a war hawk, and we know he's pro-police in historically. However, his current platform, the guy reinstate DACA, reinstate TPS, which is big time, for immigrants in Latin America and Haiti. And as far as addressing the prison issue that we have now, he's not into defunding police. He's a reformist, but he's recognizing there's issues there. I'm not saying that to, for a lot of people that's not enough. But the main thing for me is his willingness to potentially end cash bail, which is an extremely oppressive, just a terrible thing, right? For people to have to sit in a jail, when they haven't been found guilty yet because they can't afford it. It's basically a war, a crime. It's basically punishing people for being poor. He is willing to undo many of the bad things that he himself, it's his own mess. So I'm not going to give him too much credit for it. He's cleaning up his own mess. He wants to end mandatory minimums. He wants to end the disparity between powder cocaine and crack, and potentially legalize marijuana, or at least,
which was legalized today in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, yeah. So those are things that affect us on a day-to-day that make a big difference. Now, on a big scale, obviously, he's willing to re-enter the Paris Climate Accord, and he's much more serious about the climate issue, which is the above all of our issues amongst humans. I mean, that's the big thing. And there's much more. There's much more in terms of his policies being friendlier to workers. I mean, they're not friendly to workers; they're friendlier to workers. And I think that only place I can't really say it makes a big difference is probably foreign policy. And so we have the privilege of saying that, oh, he's better on domestic issues that people in the global South don't have the privilege of really saying, in terms of people maybe in countries that aren't considered allies of the United States. And Biden's a war hawk, and he's tough. And I don't know if he's going to lift any of these sanctions that violate people in these countries. So we have the privilege of hoping that he's better domestically. At the one place I can't say he's better is in foreign policy in many ways. But I think, I think that it's pretty clear based on the facts and his platform, that as bad as the Obama administration was in many ways, and as bad as Biden's history is, his actual platform is to the left of Obama and Hillary Clinton.
And you mentioned like he's cleaning up his own mess, which is kind of like a relief.
He's vowing to. He's vowing to. Yeah.
And like we've seen him mention how he admitted the crime bill was a mistake. He mentioned that,
which he didn't do early in the campaign trail. If you remember, early on the campaign trail, he was using excuses and saying black people wanted it too, which is partly true. Some black politicians wanted to deal with crime that way, but it was him not taking accountability, because there were people at the time who said this doesn't make sense, because it didn't make sense. And Bernie Sanders at the time said it, who was his opponent in the primaries, said it didn't make sense. So I'm glad he at least acknowledged that,
He also has criticized Obama's immigration policy,
as he should, as any reasonable human being should.
So there is a slight reason for hope, and then the goal is just to keep on moving left until we get it.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more stuff out there. I just mentioned the big things to me, but to a lot of people, there's a lot of things in terms of other communities and things like that Biden's better on. And now here's the thing: as far as moving him, in your words, moving him left, that I am skeptical of. I feel like he kind of is what he is. I feel like he's a moderate. He's a Republican Democrat thing is whatever. He's a moderate right wing politician, which most Republicans and Democrats meet in the middle. I think most neoliberals and neoconservatives agree on most things in the big scheme of things. I mean, he's shown that he doesn't quite stand for much. He kind of moves around with the times, But I don't think you're ever gonna get, what somebody you'd consider a full-on social democrat out of him in any way, shape, or form. I think that we should hold our horses on. We can push. I'm just saying that's just hold your horses on how far you can get there.
But we can get it there, or potentially get there by pressuring and
His
pushing and
vice,
pressuring.
his vice president's also a right wing. There's not a lot of prime with the way he's talking about building his cabinet. It's
And he might have
that
John
like
Basic
the
in it.
the pushing him left thing. I'm skeptical of doing. I mean, we're gonna try absolutely, and maybe we can push a bit, but we gotta look to 2024. I mean, we gotta be pushing while planning getting him out. I think
Yeah,
from
of
day
course.
one. From day one, not
shouldn't-
going into day one saying we're gonna push and we're pushing you and you're out in 4. It should be
Yeah.
the ideal goal. The ideal goal.
On January 20th, we prepared for the Dem to take him out. Who could that be? Could that be an AOC that fast?
Hey, I'm tired of talking, Dickie. Talk about it.
I mean, I would say that at this moment, she is probably the successor to Bernie Sanders. She is the new person that will sort
I'm
of
gonna go get
have
this food.
represent the left wing of the Democratic Party from now on, because it's like I follow politics closely enough, since I've been, 14, 15, 16, in high school, where I have never seen a freshman uh, congressperson get this much press in her first term.
Mm-hmm.
Like she gets as much press as the Speaker of the House, as Nancy Pelosi. That's like how important she is. And maybe it's the New York thing. Maybe it's the fact that she's from New York and East Coast bias and all of that, and kind of makes her very, very, overrepresents her influence. Put it that way. And if you look at the things she believes in, she basically believes all the things that Bernie believes, except that she's has a much better package.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love Bernie. He seems like a very nice man, but he's 78 years old and he hates brushing his hair. So that's just not a very good he wears all these those drumpy suits. He's not a very
He's your grandpa. He's like
he's
your
grandpa, and he's a nice guy, but it's like he doesn't make people inspire like the average person who's like, oh, I want to vote for Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very specific thing among people around our age that we decided, yeah, this guy is good because he's the closest we've had to sort of social democracy in a really long time. Really long time. So, and I think AOC could be that person and more marketable. And she's a woman and she's Latina, and it kind of gives a lot more sort of legs to move on than just Grandpa Bernie. And I guess there could be a struggle between her and like Nina Turner to see who will be the person that will follow Bernie. But if I feel like she's as good as anyone we have right now. And it'll be like if Trump wins,
Mm-hmm.
all of these people that lost this time, Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar and Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and Andrew Cuomo now because he's got all of this gas because of coronavirus. Even if he do that good of a job, it's going to be another messy ass primary.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if 4 years from now, I think as Jay said, because I mean, like it's probably no matter what, Biden's one and done, right?
Oh yeah. I think he said that he's pretty much. He said he's not running again.
So 38% in Michigan, Trump has a 9-point lead.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if 4 years is enough time. Like, if the Democratic Party just did all that to put Joe Biden, oh, wow, Wisconsin has tightened.
Pennsylvania widened. Sheesh.
Yeah, Rumpf got Georgia in the bag.
Yeah, Wisconsin's looking tight.
Which is better than what it was looking like. A little bit. Oh, no, Dan. How'd Dan come in twice?
Daggerty.
I'm not sure that 4 years is enough time to sway people to an AOC. If especially if there's going to be an Andrew Cuomo on the ballot
What?
in the primaries.
What? You
Andrew
know,
Cuomo, Pete Buttigieg is their guy, I think.
yeah. I mean, that's who they want. They want to keep losing. If you understand that they actually don't care at all about winning, then just like, oh, sure, Pete Buttigieg, go ahead, try.
They want to win. It's just it's more important to them to win their way. I mean, because they look at Bernie Sanders as a bigger loss to their corporate interest than Donald Trump.
Yes, and
They're
this is
more to they're closer to Trump than they are to a social democrat.
oh, sure. And then you look at, it is like, then we have this progressive caucus, Pramila Jayapal and those people.
It's growing.
And they're okay, I guess. They're still not social democrats.
I think the thing is with Bernie, I think the progressive caucus is promising. I think it's promising from the standpoint of I think Ocasio Cortez. I think Omar is the most ruthless one. I think
She
she's uncompromising.
she seems to be very much yes. She has her beliefs.
So I think that compared to the past, maybe 2012, 2014, 2010, there is a potential, and Ocasio Cortez. I understand why she says some of the things she says, and I don't blame her for. I know some people may be disappointed at times. I mean, they can't be perfect to everybody, but I
No.
do think the Progressive Caucus has potential, and I do think that at the very least they are, giving us some hope that that party will be held accountable in terms of, from a labor standpoint.
Sure.
Because everything else, I mean, is obviously we know how that goes. So
Yeah.
but you're right. If you say that it's not enough right now, that's correct. Of course, it's a small minority of the party, and it's not nearly influential enough.
No.
And the ones there, like you said, a lot of them are barely social democrats. I mean, it's because progressive doesn't mean anything.
It it means nothing. It just means that you sort of believe that government should do things besides go to war in the Middle East.
No, or it could just be, you're just a liberal that's more flexible on some social issues. It doesn't progressive does you can be a right-wing progressive. It doesn't mean any. I
No.
mean, and the right left thing in itself is a construct. That's a whole nother discussion. But the
Yeah.
point is, you can be a progressive and not be and barely be pro-worker.
Sure.
So it doesn't really mean it's just a hollow label to me to begin with.
I totally agree that it's just like it is something that people say to sound nice.
What is this? What's the J meal? What is this show sponsored by? This man's chewing on something midstream.
They're not. I mean, you see this on Twitch streams all the time. You got me for over an hour, and we're gonna be here for a minute. We're gonna move around. I watch Twitch streams. I watch Twitch streams and YouTube lives, and people move around. People eat while they're
What are
playing.
you eating?
I made a soup, man. I made a chicken soup, man. I got some bok choy in here. I got some daikon radish in here. I got some broccoli in here.
Okay.
I'm
A nice green
yeah.
chicken soup.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got low key some ginger was sliced in here. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna shout anybody out because I mean they're not paying for advertising. And this is a capitalist show.
It is.
This is at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line. You know, we don't get paid. You know, Beekson has a structure. You know what I mean?
I use the free labor. Man, look at this on CNN right now. They're talking about a scenario where Biden wins by two votes.
2
What?
electoral college votes.
If that happens, Rumpf is going to the court. Guys, you know what doomsday? You know doomsday. You know doomsday.
But is this worse than doomsday? If is because we never thought of the doomsday scenario with Trump just winning outright. Like,
No,
is this
Biden will just concede like Al Gore did. Biden won't fight it.
no? He won't fight it. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of Rumpf and his power and what he'll try to do, is this worse? Like him
Mm,
winning outright?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it confirms every horrible thing that we thought. Oh, we the past 4 years taught us a lesson, and then, like the past 9 months, even more so. It's like the pandemic and all of that. But I mean, I guess it's also true that it's there is this red mirage over there in the Great Lakes, so we don't know anything really, actually, because yeah, and
It's early.
and
It's still. I mean, we talked about
it's
that.
early, and he's still close in Texas, and he's still close in North Carolina.
Facts.
Not over.
Facts.
Yeah, I I mean, I guess everybody is going to freak out because that's like the natural thing to do, but it ain't over. It ain't.
Well, what would
It's
you? I mean, but what would your bet be if you went to bed right now, and you turned off the TV and got off the stream and just went straight to bed and turned your phone off, and woke up tomorrow and didn't check anything until 5 in the afternoon?
uh
What do
huh.
you think? What do you think your phone is going to be? What do you think your timeline is going to look like? What do you think your news coverage when you turn your TV on is going to look
I
like?
think it'll be yes. Donald Trump wins 310 electoral votes and is president for 4 more years.
All right, then. So stop with the spin, bro.
Dan conceding. Dan
Well,
conceded.
I just yes, I gave up.
Oh, you're ridiculous. Come on.
I'm very what's the word?
I forget how reactionary Diggy gets. I forget how
Such a
reactionary he
play,
gets in
such
the
a small
minute.
sample of results player. Like he can.
I forget how reactionary he gets during live events.
Yeah,
You got my blood pressure through the roof, man.
it's like that Mike Gesicki drop on Sunday afternoon. I was like, man, that's not fair to Tua, and I was like angry. I was like,
You know what? One of the most
yeah, Gesicki.
annoying things. One of the most annoying things in sports is when fans judge their quarterbacks and say, "Oh, but drops."
But
Drops
drop.
happen every single team. It's nothing's different. You know, Tua would have went so for so if people didn't drop the ball. Like people aren't dropping balls in every stadium every Sunday.
Yeah, but Gesicki.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's not you. I'm just saying. I see it. Like I'm just saying that. Like it's not you. I'm just saying. Like it's just like yeah, drops are a thing, and you can talk about it, but don't act
It,
like
it's like
you know.
football equivalent
To
of
FIP.
like fouls in basketball. Tiki, those sort of hand check stuff. It's like, oh, it's always the hand check fouls. They're gonna break for you too sooner or later.
Unless you are a fan of a certain team and they're out to
Yeah,
get you. And they're out
yeah,
to get you. There's a global conspiracy against your
yeah.
team.
A global conspiracy that started with the 2006 finals, where Dwayne Wade was getting fouled out
Oh,
every time he drove to the basket. Every single time, like starting game 4 of that finals, it's like, oh, he shot like 90 free throws in the second half of that series.
Listen, man.
Close election may come down to Arizona, PA. I mean, when you say it like that, I mean, Michigan looks a little scary right now. But when you say it like that, it comes down to Arizona, PA, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You got to feel a little bit better.
I think Biden will get 2 of those though, and Trump will get 2. So what's that really saying? It's gonna basically it's down to the wire.
It's yes. It wasn't this whole.
But
Yeah, we were going to get 1,430. Yeah, that was the number. 413 electoral votes. If
yo, but is CNN even talking about mail-in balloting at all?
I mean, I have it muted, so I don't know. I mean,
They're
I bet they're talking about this red mirage stuff. They have to be because it's all we've talked about for 2 weeks now.
they're not. I mean, they're just calling it as it's coming in. They're not really
Yeah.
putting that in. I mean, the volume's low. It's all the way over there, but
Yeah.
you know, they're calling California and Oregon.
I mean, that gives us
Obviously, yeah.
at least, yeah.
270 is needed right now. 192, 108 in favor of Joe Biden.
Wait, what happened?
It's going
Biden's up 192 to 108 right now.
Michigan, Wisconsin.
How are the betting odds looking?
Let's see. I'll try to pull it up.
Oh, wrong. Man, that's
I think nobody's going to actually do this. Everybody should log off, turn off the TV, and go to sleep.
I mean, I'll eventually fall asleep, man. But I haven't for this long and since a hurricane, I think.
Uh-huh.
As of 37 minutes ago from OddsShark, the odds have slowly begun to shift back towards Biden, but Donald Trump is still a big favorite at minus 300.
Well, that's
okay. Well, maybe so. Could it be that the odds? First of all, I expect the odds makers to be very smart and calculate everything. But could it be that they weren't putting in context the mail-ins?
Well, remember this is, I guess, live betting. So I guess
so you're saying they're overreacting to a red wave.
Overreacting to everything.
They're overreacting to like a 10-0 run.
Betting.
The 10-0 run. Like
yeah.
Rumpf went on a quick 10-0 run. Man, what are we looking at in Texas right now?
I mean, Texas went up to 4.6% for Trump.
God damn, though. I know it's hard to say it's the I know it's like we're right by saying it's the mail-in ballots, but Trump is up like 16 in fucking Pennsylvania.
Well, red mirage.
Damn, Jay.
It's true.
Jay got damn.
I think they got 95% of the vote in North Carolina. And
we have one person writing in. Do you know who this person is?
Who? Where?
Are you aware of an Alex Apple?
No.
Well, he has 2 questions. He asked, "Who do you vote for?"
I can't, but I would have voted for Joe. I'm not a U.S. citizen, so I can't vote. But I would have.
Danzy is not a U.S. citizen, so he didn't even vote. And he follows it up with, "Danzy, do you have an OnlyFans?" He does.
Not yet.
You can follow it. He might be so sad and needs money that he might fuck around and get an OnlyFans going.
I don't know. I honestly want to turn the phone off, turn the TV off, and not even go to sleep, lay down in the dark for a while because my brain is not okay.
Yeah, this didn't go as I expected. I was hoping for a comfortable Ronald Rumpf. I mean, not a comfortable
Joe Biden
win, but
yeah. Well, It's all. It's damn. It's the Miami-Dade County. This is how it all started.
That's when you started to notice the night was going bad.
Yeah, because it dropped at like 7:15, and it was like, oh, Joe Biden's only up by 10% in Miami-Dade County. It's like, yeesh, yikes. It's. I mean, I guess there's all of these states up there: Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, blah 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 blah. That we have to count a lot of mail-in ballots. So let's see what happens. But at the moment, I don't know what to say anymore. I have nothing left to say.
I feel like it's still pretty close right now, and we're acting like Trump is blowing them out.
It's just that I guess it's like, it's about expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that we had really high expectations, and it was like, oh, it's going to be easy.
So do we just blame this on white people? Because you can't blame it on they didn't come out to vote.
I'm blaming it on white people, and I'm blaming it on
The Democratic Party.
on Democratic Party and the Cubans.
And because I don't think Biden ran a bad campaign in terms of campaigns, like just in terms of just like straight up the way he ran his campaign strategy.
They did everything they had to do. They were spending money in Georgia. They were spending money in North Carolina. They were spending money in Arizona. They went and did the things up there, in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. They tried. They had these ads like as the campaign was like in the last 2 weeks where they talk about, we're going to give you money for, to pay for childcare. We're going to expand Medicare. And so he was even trying to give sort of like an actual message with policies instead of just saying Trump bad. Because that's one of the reasons why Hillary lost was because her only argument was Trump bad.
Yeah.
But Biden wasn't doing just Trump bad. He was doing Trump bad too, but he was doing, I'm gonna try and make things better.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try and end the pandemic. I'm actually gonna try to do something about the Rona.
And a lot of people criticize that though, like even like some moderate people, like, and when I say moderate, I mean like Obama Democrats.
Sure.
Who say like, oh, he only focused on the coronavirus and he put too much focus on the coronavirus.
It's like, what else? What else are you supposed to talk about? I guess it's the biggest thing in the country, and it does seem that like the federal government is doing a particularly bad job of taking care of it, but apparently people don't care. That's what it looks like right now. Like, oh, I'd rather go to Walmart wearing my mask than whatever.
And if Ronald Rumpf wins this election tonight, Fauci's going to be fired.
Yeah.
And we're not going to, like, the pandemic's going to go away because we're just going to stop giving a shit.
Yes. The vaccine is going to show up sooner or later, but I don't know how long it's going to take for the vaccine to show up.
It's just.
But again, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, it's not, as bad as it looks.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't. My Wi-Fi went out, but I'm right back. That could crack.
I'm actually gonna walk out, so y'all have a conversation. Entertain the view. Entertain the viewers. We were talking about Corona.
We were talking about coronavirus. About how Trump's not gonna give a shit if he wins because he doesn't give a shit. I think you froze. I don't know. Jay, I think you're frozen. So I have absolutely nothing left to say, and apparently Jay's stream froze. So I'm just gonna wait until for Mike to come back, and just everybody chill. That's my only advice right now is chillax. It's probably not as bad as we think right now. It could be a lot worse. And he could, and if he wins Arizona, if Biden wins Arizona, then maybe we have a much better chance of actually pulling this off. I can't do this anymore.
Well, I don't know what happened, but appreciate you guys watching.